The Galactic Mockery. Commander Alexis Chen stood at the viewport of the United Earth ship Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling, ethereal beauty of the Andromeda Galaxy. The ship's advanced propulsion systems had brought them farther than any human vessel before, but Alexis knew they were about to venture into truly uncharted territory. "Status report, Dr. Patel," she called out, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. Dr. Rajesh Patel, the ship's chief scientist, looked up from his holographic display. "All systems nominal, Commander. We're picking up some unusual energy signatures from the system ahead. It could be evidence of advanced civilization." Alexis nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. This was what they had come for: first contact with an alien species. After centuries of searching, humanity was finally on the brink of discovering they weren't alone in the universe. "Take us in, Lieutenant Kowalski," she ordered. "Nice and easy." As the Horizon glided into the alien star system, the crew fell into an awed silence. Massive structures orbited the planets, gleaming with an otherworldly light. Energy fields shimmered between celestial bodies, defying the laws of physics as humans understood them. Suddenly, the ship's communications array lit up. "Commander," called out Ensign Maria Rodriguez, "we're being hailed." Alexis straightened her uniform, acutely aware that she was about to become the first human to speak with an extraterrestrial intelligence. "On screen," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that seemed to shimmer and shift, its form barely contained within three-dimensional space. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in their minds. "Greetings, primitive creatures," the alien's thoughts echoed. "We are the Zarketh. Your presence here is unexpected." Alexis swallowed hard, pushing down her initial reaction to the condescending tone. "I am Commander Alexis Chen of the United Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace, seeking to establish friendly relations with other intelligent life forms." A ripple passed through the Zarketh's form, something that might have been laughter. "Friendly relations? How quaint. Tell us, little humans, what could you possibly offer a civilization as advanced as ours?" Dr. Patel stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his caution. "We bring knowledge, a thirst for understanding. Our technology may be less advanced, but our potential for growth is immense." The Zarketh's dismissive response cut through their minds like a knife. "Your technology is nothing more than children's toys to us. Your understanding of the universe is laughably limited. We have mastered the art of dimensional manipulation, bending reality to our will. You haven't even grasped the basics of interdimensional travel." Alexis felt a flush of anger and embarrassment. She had expected some technological disparity, but this level of dismissal stung. "We may not have mastered dimensional travel," she said, her voice firm, "but humanity has overcome countless challenges. We've united our planet, cured diseases, and reached the stars through sheer determination and ingenuity." "Ah yes," the Zarketh's thoughts dripped with sarcasm. "The famous human determination. How charming that you think that's enough to compete on a galactic scale. Your species is young, Commander Chen. Primitive. You are ants trying to comprehend the workings of a quantum computer." The alien's form shifted, expanding to fill the view screen. "We will allow you to observe our greatness, to witness what true civilization looks like. Perhaps in a few millennia, you might begin to grasp a fraction of our knowledge." As the transmission cut off, a stunned silence fell over the Horizon's bridge. Alexis turned to her crew, seeing a mix of humiliation, anger, and determination on their faces. "Well," she said, her voice tight with suppressed emotion, "it seems we have a lot to prove." Dr. Patel nodded, his eyes gleaming with a newfound fire. "They think we're primitive. Let's show them what human ingenuity can do." Over the next few weeks, the crew of the Horizon observed the Zarketh civilization from a distance. They witnessed feats of engineering that defied comprehension. Planets reshaped at will, stars used as power sources, and beings that seemed to phase in and out of reality itself. But with each passing day, instead of feeling more demoralized, the humans grew more determined. They analyzed every scrap of data, every glimpse of advanced technology they could capture. Dr. Patel and his team worked around the clock, pushing the boundaries of human understanding. One evening, as Alexis was reviewing the latest reports in her quarters, Dr. Patel burst in, his eyes wild with excitement. "Commander," he gasped, "I think we found something. A way to manipulate higher dimensions. It's rudimentary, nothing like what the Zarketh can do, but it's a start." Alexis felt a surge of hope. "How soon can we implement this, Doctor?" Patel's expression turned grim. "That's the problem, Commander. With our current technology, it would take years, maybe decades, to build a ship capable of utilizing this theory." Alexis stood, her decision already made. "Then we better get started, Doctor. Send a message to Earth. Tell them we're about to change the course of human history." As she turned back to the viewport, gazing at the awe-inspiring structures of the Zarketh, Alexis felt a fierce pride in her species. The aliens might mock them now, but humanity had faced impossible odds before. They had climbed out of caves to touch the stars, and they wouldn't stop now. "You think we're weak," she whispered to the uncaring void of space. "You haven't seen anything yet." Little did the Zarketh know, their mockery had lit a fire in the hearts of the Horizon's crew, a fire that would soon spread to all of humanity. The race to prove their worth in the galactic community had begun, and humans, as they had always done, would defy expectations. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but Alexis Chen and her crew were ready. They would show the Zarketh, and any other alien civilization watching, that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. The age of human dimensional mastery was about to dawn, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Secret Project. 5 years had passed since humanity's humbling first contact with the Zarketh. The message from the Horizon had sparked a global revolution on Earth, uniting the planet in a way no war, disaster, or scientific breakthrough ever had. Operation Quantum Leap, as it came to be known, consumed the resources and attention of every nation. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a sprawling complex shielded from prying alien eyes, Dr. Rajesh Patel stood before a holographic representation of their most ambitious project yet. The image flickered and danced, showcasing the ship unlike any humanity had ever conceived. "The ISV Defiance," he said, his voice filled with pride and exhaustion in equal measure. "Humanity's first true step into higher dimensional space." Commander Alexis Chen, now promoted to Admiral, studied the hologram with intense focus. "Talk me through it, Doctor. How close are we?" Patel manipulated the hologram, zooming in on various sections of the ship. The hull is composed of a metamaterial that can partially phase between dimensions, allowing us to slip through the cracks in reality, so to speak. The propulsion system utilizes quantum entanglement to create wormholes on a microscopic scale, propelling us faster than light without ever violating the laws of physics in our own dimension. He paused, his expression turning grave. "The power requirements are immense. We've had to develop new forms of energy production just to get this far, and the computational systems needed to navigate higher dimensions are pushing the boundaries of our understanding of quantum computing." Alexis nodded, her mind racing with the implications. "And the crew? How do we protect them from the effects of higher dimensional travel?" "That's been one of our biggest challenges," Patel admitted. "We've developed a series of neural interfaces that will allow the crew to perceive and interact with higher dimensions without losing their sanity. It's not perfect, but our simulations show a 97% success rate." As they discussed the finer points of the project, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A young lieutenant burst into the room, her face pale with urgency. "Admiral, Doctor, we've got a problem," she gasped. "We've detected a Zarketh probe in orbit around Mars. Our stealth systems are barely keeping us hidden." Alexis's jaw tightened. They're getting bolder. Have they scanned the facility? The lieutenant shook her head. Not yet, but it's only a matter of time before they detect the energy signatures from our experiments. We need more time, Paddle said, his voice tinged with desperation. The Defiance isn't ready for a test flight, let alone a confrontation with the Zarketh. Alexis stood silent for a moment, weighing their options. Finally, she turned to the lieutenant. Initiate Protocol Omega. Shut down all non-essential systems and divert power to the stealth field. We're going dark. As the facility dimmed around them, plunging into an eerie twilight state, Alexis turned back to Patel. How long do you need, Doctor? Patel ran his hands through his graying hair, calculations racing through his mind. 6 months. Maybe 4 if we push ourselves to the absolute limit. You have 3, Alexis said firmly. Whatever it takes, whatever resources you need, you'll have them. But in 3 months, the Defiance needs to fly. The next 3 months were a blur of feverish activity. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, pushing themselves to the brink of exhaustion and beyond. The Zarketh probe remained in orbit, a constant reminder of the alien eyes watching their every move. Breakthroughs were made, then unmade as new problems arose. The metamaterial hull kept destabilizing under the strain of simulated higher-dimensional stress. The quantum entanglement drive threatened to tear itself apart every time they powered it up. And the neural interfaces, the less said about the early test results, the better. But with each setback, the team pushed harder. They were driven not just by scientific curiosity or patriotic duty, but by a deep-seated need to prove themselves, to show the Zarketh and the galaxy at large that humanity was not to be underestimated. 2 months into their deadline, a breakthrough finally came. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant young physicist who had been part of the original Horizon crew, stumbled upon the solution they needed. It's not about forcing our way into higher dimensions, she explained, her eyes alight with the fire of discovery. It's about harmonizing with them. We've been thinking like engineers when we should have been thinking like musicians. Her insight led to a complete redesign of the Defiance's systems. Instead of brute forcing their way through dimensional barriers, they would resonate with them, slipping between realities like a dancer moving between partners. The final month was a mad dash to implement Elena's theories. The hull was recrystallized, the drive recalibrated, and the neural interfaces reprogrammed. All the while, the Zarketh probe loomed overhead, a silent sentinel that could spell doom for their project at any moment. On the eve of their deadline, Admiral Chen stood in the Defiance's bridge, surrounded by the best and brightest humanity had to offer. Dr. Patel and Dr. Rodriguez flanked her, their faces a mix of exhaustion and nervous excitement. Status report, Alexis said, her voice calm despite the butterflies in her stomach. All systems are go, Admiral, Elena responded. The hull is stable, the drive is purring like a kitten, and the neural interfaces are, well, they're as ready as they'll ever be. Patel nodded in agreement. We've done all we can, Admiral. The simulations look good, but until we actually attempt higher dimensional travel, we won't know if it works, Alexis finished for him. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of humanity's hopes and dreams on her shoulders. Well then, there's only one thing left to do. She opened a channel to the entire facility. Attention all personnel. This is Admiral Chen. In a few moments, we will be attempting our first test flight of the ISV Defiance. I won't lie to you. This is dangerous, uncharted territory. But each and every one of you has poured your heart and soul into this project. Whatever happens next, know that you have already made history. Alexis paused, allowing her words to sink in. To those of you not on the flight crew, I want you to evacuate the facility immediately. If something goes wrong, Earth will need your knowledge to carry on our work. As the non-essential personnel began their evacuation, Alexis turned to her bridge crew. Last chance to back out, she said with a wry smile. No one will think less of you if you do. Not a single person moved. The determination in their eyes was answer enough. "Very well," Alexis said, settling into the captain's chair. "Dr. Patel, begin power-up sequence. Dr. Rodriguez, initiate dimensional harmonics. Lieutenant Kowalski, take us out." Gently. As the Defiance hummed to life around them, its systems singing in harmony with the very fabric of reality, Alexis allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. They were about to attempt something no human had ever done before, something the Zarketh had mocked them for even considering. "Dimensional drive online," Paddle reported. "Harmonics at optimal frequency. Neural interfaces stable," Elena added. "We're as ready as we'll ever be." Alexis nodded, her resolve firm. "Then let's make history. Engage dimensional drive." The world around them seemed to ripple and shift, colors bleeding into one another, as reality itself bent to the will of human ingenuity. The Defiance shuddered, straining against the bonds of three-dimensional space. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as if the ship would tear itself apart. Alarms blared, warnings flashed across every screen. But then, with a sensation that defied description, they broke through. The universe as they knew it fell away, replaced by a realm of impossible geometry and mind-bending beauty. They had done it. Humanity had achieved 7th-dimensional travel. As the crew stared in awe at the wonders surrounding them, a single thought echoed through Alexis's mind. "Let's see them mock us now." The real test, however, was yet to come. For in pushing beyond the boundaries of known physics, humanity had inadvertently drawn the attention of forces far beyond their comprehension. The true challenge was not in reaching the higher dimensions, but in navigating the cosmic storm they had just unleashed. The unveiling. The return of the ISV Defiance to normal space was met with a mixture of jubilation and disbelief. As the ship phased back into the three-dimensional realm, the skeleton crew left at the Mars base erupted into cheers. Humanity had done the impossible. They had successfully navigated the higher dimensions and returned to tell the tale. Admiral Alexis Chen stepped off the Defiance, her legs wobbly but her eyes shining with triumph. Dr. Patel and Dr. Rodriguez followed closely behind, their faces a blend of exhaustion and exhilaration. "We did it," Alexis breathed, hardly daring to believe it herself. "We actually did it." But there was no time to rest on their laurels. As soon as the initial health checks were complete, Alexis called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The holographic projections of presidents, prime ministers, and other global figureheads flickered to life in the base's main conference room. "Ladies and gentlemen," Alexis began, her voice steady despite her fatigue, "I'm pleased to report that Operation Quantum Leap has been a success. The ISV Defiance has successfully achieved and returned from 7th-dimensional space." A wave of astonished murmurs swept through the room. The president of the United Earth Alliance leaned forward, her eyes intense. "Admiral Chen, are you absolutely certain? The implications of this are world-changing." Alexis finished for her. "Yes, Madam President. We have the data to prove it. Dr. Patel, if you would." Rajesh stepped forward, bringing up a holographic display of the Defiance's journey. As he explained the intricacies of their achievement, the world leaders listened in rapt attention. When he finished, there was a moment of stunned silence. Finally, the Chinese premier spoke up. "This is indeed a momentous achievement, but we must ask, what of the Zarketh? Surely they must have detected your experiment." As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Lieutenant Kowalski burst into the room, her face pale. "Admiral, we're detecting multiple Zarketh ships entering the solar system. They're headed straight for Mars." Alexis felt her heart race, but she kept her composure. "It seems, Mr. Premier, that we're about to find out." She turned back to the world leaders. "I recommend we go to global alert status. The next few hours will determine the future of our species." As the conference room erupted into a flurry of activity, with leaders rushing to mobilize their forces, Alexis turned to her team. We knew this day would come. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Defiance was prepped for emergency launch. Its systems barely cooled down from the previous journey. Every scrap of data from their dimensional jump was encrypted and transmitted to secure locations on Earth, ensuring that even if they failed, humanity's achievement would not be lost. As the Zarketh fleet approached, a transmission cut through all Earth frequencies. The aliens' thoughts resonated in the minds of every human on the planet. Primitive creatures, the familiar condescending tone echoed. We have detected your crude attempts at dimensional manipulation. Your reckless experiments threaten the fabric of reality itself. Surrender your technology and prepare for assimilation into the greater galactic community. Resistance is inadvisable. The unveiling. The return of the ISV Defiance to normal space was met with a mixture of jubilation and disbelief. As the ship phased back into the three-dimensional realm, the skeleton crew left at the Mars base erupted into cheers. Humanity had done the impossible. They had successfully navigated the higher dimensions and returned to tell the tale. Admiral Alexis Chen stepped off the Defiance, her legs wobbly but her eyes shining with triumph. Dr. Patel and Dr. Rodriguez followed closely behind, their faces a blend of exhaustion and exhilaration. We did it, Alexis breathed, hardly daring to believe it herself. We actually did it. But there was no time to rest on their laurels. As soon as the initial health checks were complete, Alexis called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The holographic projections of presidents, prime ministers, and other global figureheads flickered to life in the base's main conference room. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexis began, her voice steady despite her fatigue. I'm pleased to report that Operation Quantum Leap has been a success. The ISV Defiance has successfully achieved and returned from 7th-Dimensional space. A wave of astonished murmurs swept through the room. The president of the United Earth Alliance leaned forward, her eyes intense. Admiral Chen, are you absolutely certain? The implications of this are world-changing. Alexis finished for her. Yes, Madam President. We have the data to prove it. Dr. Patel, if you would. Rajesh stepped forward, bringing up a holographic display of the Defiance's journey. As he explained the intricacies of their achievement, the world leaders listened in rapt attention. When he finished, there was a moment of stunned silence. Finally, the Chinese premier spoke up. This is indeed a momentous achievement, but we must ask, what of the Zarketh? Surely they must have detected your experiment. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Lieutenant Kowalski burst into the room, her face pale. Admiral, we're detecting multiple Zarketh ships entering the solar system. They're headed straight for Mars. Alexis felt her heart race, but she kept her composure. It seems, Mr. Premier, that we're about to find out. She turned back to the world leaders. I recommend we go to global alert status. The next few hours will determine the future of our species. As the conference room erupted into a flurry of activity, with leaders rushing to mobilize their forces, Alexis turned to her team. We knew this day would come. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. The next few hours were a blur of activity. The Defiance was prepped for emergency launch. Its systems barely cooled down from the previous journey. Every scrap of data from their dimensional jump was encrypted and transmitted to secure locations on Earth, ensuring that even if they failed, humanity's achievement would not be lost. As the Zarketh fleet approached, a transmission cut through all Earth frequencies. The aliens' thoughts resonated in the minds of every human on the planet. Primitive creatures, the familiar condescending tone echoed. We have detected your crude attempts at dimensional manipulation. Your reckless experiments threaten the fabric of reality itself. Surrender your technology and prepare for assimilation into the greater galactic community. Resistance is inadvisable. Alexis stood on the bridge of the Defiance, her crew at their stations, ready for whatever came next. She opened a channel, her voice calm and resolute. "This is Admiral Alexis Chen of the interstellar vessel Defiance. We acknowledge your presence in our solar system, but we reject your demands. Humanity will not be cowed or assimilated. We stand ready to take our place among the stars, as equals." There was a pause, and for a moment, Alexis thought she detected a hint of uncertainty in the Zarketh's response. "Equals? You dare to consider yourselves our equals? Your species is barely out of its infancy. You cannot hope to comprehend, let alone control, the forces you are meddling with." Alexis allowed herself a small smile. "Perhaps, but we've come further in a few years than you thought we could in millennia. We may be young, but we learn fast, and we're not afraid to push boundaries." She nodded to Dr. Rodriguez, who began the power-up sequence for the dimensional drive. "We invite you to witness what humanity is truly capable of. You can join us in exploring the wonders of the universe, or you can stand aside. But you will not stop us." With that, Alexis cut the transmission. She turned to her crew, seeing the same determination mirrored in their eyes that she felt in her heart. "All stations, report in." "Engineering ready." Dr. Patel's voice came through, steady and confident. "Dimensional harmonics stable," Dr. Rodriguez added. "Weapons and shields at full capacity," Lieutenant Kowalski reported, a hint of eagerness in her tone. Alexis took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Engage dimensional drive. Let's show them what we can do. The Defiance shimmered, its hull resonating with the frequencies of higher dimensions. In a display that must have seemed like magic to any observers, the ship began to phase in and out of normal space, dancing between realities with a grace that belied its human origins. The Zarketh fleet, caught off guard by this unexpected demonstration, fell into disarray. Their own ships, massive and imposing as they were, suddenly seemed clumsy and outdated in comparison to the Defiance's fluid movements through space-time. Alexis's voice rang out across all frequencies, addressing not just the Zarketh, but any alien civilizations that might be watching. "This is humanity. We come in peace, but we will not be subjugated. We offer friendship and collaboration, but demand respect. The universe is vast and full of wonders, and we intend to explore every corner of it." As the Defiance weaved through the Zarketh fleet, effortlessly evading their attempts at capture, a change came over the alien vessels. Slowly, almost reluctantly, they began to pull back. A new transmission came through, the Zarketh's mental voice tinged with something that might have been respect or fear. "You have surprised us, humans. Perhaps we were hasty in our judgment. We will withdraw for now. But know that the galaxy will be watching your progress closely." As the alien fleet retreated, leaving Earth's solar system as quickly as they had entered it, a cheer went up from every corner of the planet. Humanity had stood its ground, and in doing so, had changed the course of galactic history. Alexis allowed herself a moment of celebration with her crew, but she knew their journey was far from over. They had proven themselves, yes, but they had also painted a target on their backs. Every advanced civilization in the galaxy would now be turning their attention to Earth, some with curiosity, others with fear or envy. As the Defiance set a course back to Mars, Alexis gazed out at the star-filled void. They had taken their first steps into a larger universe, and there would be no turning back. The age of human dimensional mastery had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic story. But even as they reveled in their triumph, none of them could have predicted the challenges that lay ahead. For in pushing the boundaries of reality, humanity had attracted the attention of forces beyond even the Zarketh's comprehension. The true test of their species was yet to come. Journey beyond dimensions. In the months following humanity's dramatic stand against the Zarketh, Earth had become a hub of frenetic activity. The secret of dimensional travel was out, and the planet was abuzz with possibilities. Scientists from every nation collaborated on expanding the technology, while diplomats worked tirelessly to establish Earth's place in the galactic community. Admiral Alexis Chen found herself at the center of it all. As the commander of humanity's first successful dimensional voyage, she had become a reluctant celebrity. But fame was the furthest thing from her mind as she stood before the United Earth Alliance Council, presenting her most ambitious proposal yet. "Distinguished counselors," she began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach, "the ISV Defiance has proven that humanity can navigate the higher dimensions. Now, I propose we take the next step, a mission beyond the boundaries of known space, to explore realms no being has ever seen." The council chamber erupted in a mixture of excited murmurs and concerned objections. The UEA president leaned forward, her expression grave. "Admiral Chen, while your achievements are undeniable, this seems extraordinarily risky. We've barely begun to understand this technology." Alexis nodded, acknowledging the concern. "You're right, Madam President. It is risky. But every great advancement in human history has come with risks. We didn't reach the moon by playing it safe. We didn't achieve dimensional travel by being cautious. If we want to secure humanity's place among the stars, we need to push further." Dr. Rajesh Patel stepped forward, adding his voice to Alexis. "Our latest simulations show that the 9th dimension might hold the key to understanding the fundamental structure of the multiverse. The scientific potential is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered." After hours of debate, the council finally gave their approval, albeit with heavy conditions. The mission would be voluntary, with crew members fully aware of the risks. And they would have a strict time limit, 72 hours in higher dimensional space before they must return, no matter what they discovered. As Alexis left the council chamber, Dr. Elena Rodriguez fell into step beside her. "So," Elena said, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes, "we're really doing this." Alexis allowed herself a small smile. "We're really doing this. Assemble the crew, Elena. We're going to need the best of the best for this one." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. The Defiance underwent extensive upgrades, its systems fine-tuned to withstand the stress of extended dimensional travel. The crew, a hand-picked team of the brightest minds and bravest souls humanity had to offer, trained relentlessly, pushing themselves to the limits of human endurance. On the day of launch, a tense excitement filled the air. As Alexis took her place on the bridge, she looked around at her crew. Dr. Patel at the science station, his fingers dancing over holographic displays. Dr. Rodriguez at the dimensional drive controls, her face a mask of concentration. Lieutenant Kowalski at tactical, ready for anything the universe might throw at them. "All stations, report in," Alexis commanded, her voice calm and assured. One by one, each section of the ship confirmed their readiness. With a final nod, Alexis gave the order they'd all been waiting for. "Engage dimensional drive. Take us beyond." The familiar sensation of reality bending around them filled the ship, but this time they pushed further. The 5th dimension, the 6th, the 7th, realms they had visited before, flashed by in a kaleidoscope of impossible colors and geometries. As they breached the 8th dimension, alarms began to blare. Hull integrity at 89% and dropping, Kowalski reported, her voice tense. "The stress is higher than we anticipated." "Dimensional harmonics are fluctuating," Elena added, her fingers flying over her console. "I'm trying to stabilize, but the laws of physics seem to be different here." Alexis gripped her chair, feeling the ship shudder around her. "Push through," she ordered. "We didn't come all this way to turn back now." With a final, wrenching twist of reality, they broke through into the 9th dimension. And in that moment, everything changed. The view screen, designed to translate higher dimensional space into something human minds could comprehend, filled with a sight that defied description. Streams of pure information flowed around them, forming intricate patterns that seemed to hold the secrets of creation itself. "My God," Rajesh breathed, his eyes wide with wonder. It's beautiful. But they had little time to marvel at the beauty. Almost immediately, they realized they weren't alone. Beams of pure energy, incomprehensible in their complexity, swirled around the ship. Their thoughts brushed against the minds of the crew, alien and vast. Intruders, the thought echoed, not in words, but in concepts that seared themselves into human consciousness. Imperfect, limited, yet intriguing. Alexis stepped forward, her mind reeling but her voice strong. We are humans, explorers from Earth. We come seeking knowledge and understanding. The energy beings swirled closer, their attention an almost physical force. Humans, the thought came again. Young, reckless, potential. Suddenly, the ship's systems began to light up, information pouring in faster than their computers could process. Admiral, Elena called out, her voice filled with a mixture of excitement and fear. They're communicating with the ship, downloading information directly into our databases. It's not just scientific data, Rajesh added, his eyes scanning rapidly over his displays. It's everything. The history of the universe, the nature of reality itself. It's too much. Our systems can't handle it. Alexis felt a pressure building in her mind, knowledge too vast for a human brain to comprehend, threatening to overwhelm her. She saw her crew struggling similarly, their faces contorted in a mixture of pain and awe. We have to pull back, she managed to say, fighting against the flood of information. Elena, get us out of here. But as Elena reached for the controls, one of the energy beings enveloped the ship. In that moment, Alexis understood. These weren't just advanced aliens. They were the very fabric of the higher dimensions, the consciousness of the multiverse itself. Potential. The thought came again, stronger this time. Guardians. Balance. With a surge of energy that sent the ship's systems into overdrive, the beings began to change the Defiance and its crew. Alexis felt her consciousness expanding, her understanding of the universe growing exponentially. She could see the intricate web of reality, the delicate balance of forces that held existence together. And she understood their role. Humanity, in its reckless exploration, had unwittingly stumbled upon a great responsibility. They were to be the guardians of the dimensional boundaries, protectors of the cosmic balance. As suddenly as it had begun, the experience ended. The Defiance found itself back in normal space, orbiting Earth as if it had never left. But Alexis and her crew knew they had been forever changed. As they struggled to come to terms with their new knowledge and abilities, a transmission cut through their dazed silence. It was the Zarketh, their once condescending tone now tinged with awe and not a little fear. Humans, the alien thoughts echoed. What have you done? We sense a shift in the cosmic order. You have ascended. Alexis stood, feeling the weight of the universe on her shoulders, but also a newfound strength to bear it. We have seen beyond the veil, she replied, her voice resonating with newfound power. And we have returned with a purpose. As the implications of their journey began to sink in, Alexis knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had been granted cosmic awareness and dimensional mastery beyond anything they had dreamed of. But with that power came great responsibility. The age of human exploration was over. The age of human guardianship had begun, and the entire universe waited with bated breath to see what they would do next. Galactic paradigm shift. The return of the ISV Defiance marked the dawn of a new era, not just for humanity, but for the entire cosmos. As Admiral Alexis Chen and her crew stepped off the ship, it was immediately clear to everyone present that they had been profoundly changed by their journey. Their eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, and the air around them seemed to shimmer with barely contained energy. When they spoke, their voices resonated with a depth of knowledge and understanding that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Dr. Rajesh Patel was the first to attempt to explain what had happened. "We've been upgraded," he said, struggling to find words adequate to describe their experience. The beings in the higher dimensions, they're not just aliens. They're the architects of reality itself, and they've chosen us to be their agents in this realm. The news spread across Earth like wildfire, and then beyond, rippling out across the galaxy. Humanity, the species that had been dismissed as primitive just a few years ago, had apparently been granted the keys to the cosmos. The reaction from the galactic community was swift and varied. The Zarketh, once so dismissive of human potential, now approached Earth with a mixture of fear and reverence. Other alien races, hearing of humanity's ascension, began to arrive in the solar system, some seeking guidance, others wary of this new cosmic power. Alexis found herself at the center of it all, trying to navigate this new reality while grappling with her expanded consciousness. She could see the intricate web of cause and effect stretching across dimensions, could feel the pulse of the universe itself. "We need to proceed carefully," she advised the United Earth Alliance Council. "We've been given incredible power, but also an immense responsibility. We're not just citizens of Earth anymore, or even of this galaxy. We're custodians of the cosmic balance." The following months saw a flurry of activity as humanity began to come to terms with its new role. Research into dimensional technology accelerated exponentially, with breakthroughs occurring almost daily. The understanding gifted to the Defiance crew was carefully disseminated, revolutionizing fields from physics to philosophy. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some humans, intoxicated by the idea of cosmic power, pushed for immediate galactic expansion. Others, fearful of the changes, called for isolation, wanting to reject the gift they had been given. Alexis and her crew found themselves serving as mediators, not just for humanity, but for the entire galactic community. They negotiated treaties between species that had been at war for millennia, resolved cosmic disputes that threatened the fabric of reality, and worked tirelessly to maintain the delicate balance of the universe. 1 year after their fateful journey, Alexis stood before the newly formed Galactic Council, a body representing every known sentient species in the universe. The Zarketh were there, along with dozens of other alien races, all looking to humanity for leadership. "Friends, colleagues, fellow citizens of the cosmos," Alexis began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "A year ago, we humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, dismissed by many as primitive and unremarkable. Today we stand before you, entrusted with the very keys to reality itself." She paused, letting her words sink in. "But we haven't come here to boast or to rule. We've come to extend a hand in friendship, to offer our help in exploring the wonders of the universe. The power we've been given isn't for us alone, it's for all sentient life." A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. The Zarketh representative spoke up, his once condescending tone now humble. We were wrong about your species, Admiral Chen. We saw only your youth, not your potential. How can we ever make amends?" Alexis smiled. "By joining us, all of you. The universe is vast and full of wonders and dangers. We've been chosen as guardians, yes, but we can't do it alone. Nor should we. Every species here has something unique to offer, insights and abilities that we need." She gestured to the stars visible through the council chamber's transparent dome. "Out there are dimensions we haven't even dreamed of, civilizations yet to be discovered, mysteries waiting to be unraveled. We stand at the brink of a new age of exploration and understanding." "But," she cautioned, her tone growing serious, "with this great power comes great responsibility. We must be vigilant, not just against external threats, but against our own worst impulses. The temptation to abuse this power, to reshape reality to our whims, will always be there. We must hold each other accountable, must remember that we're custodians, not conquerors." As Alexis concluded her speech, a sense of unity swept through the chamber. Species that had been bitter enemies found themselves nodding in agreement. Races that had never cooperated before were now excitedly discussing joint ventures. In that moment, Alexis felt a subtle shift in the cosmic web. The higher dimensional beings had taken a gamble on humanity, had seen in them the potential to unite a fractious galaxy, and it seemed just maybe that their faith had not been misplaced. As the council session adjourned and the various representatives mingled, Alexis found a quiet moment with her old crew. Dr. Patel, Dr. Rodriguez, Lieutenant Kowalski. They had been through so much together. So, Elena said, a hint of her old excitement creeping into her voice, "What's next?" Alexis gazed out at the star-filled sky, feeling the pull of countless dimensions beyond. "We've only just begun," she said softly. "There are layers of reality we haven't even touched yet, civilizations in higher dimensions waiting to be discovered. And somewhere out there, I think we'll find the answers to the ultimate questions. The true nature of existence, the purpose of it all." Rajesh nodded, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of scientific discovery. "And along the way, we'll need to teach, to guide other races as they develop dimensional travel. We're the guardians now, the mentors." "Not bad for a bunch of primitive creatures, huh?" Kowalski quipped, drawing chuckles from the group. As they shared a moment of camaraderie, Alexis felt a swell of pride and hope. Humanity had come so far, had overcome so much. They had faced their limitations and transcended them, had stared into the depths of cosmic wonder and emerged transformed. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, setbacks, and dangers they couldn't even imagine. But they would face them together, not just as a species, but as part of a united galactic community. The stars beckoned, and dimensions beyond the stars called out to be explored. Humanity, once mocked and dismissed, had become the torchbearers of cosmic exploration, the guardians of universal balance. As Alexis Chen looked out at the vast expanse of the universe, she smiled. The greatest adventure in human history wasn't ending. It was just beginning.